Zoe, I'm never ready, but I'm always ready.
So, hi, Jordan.
Hi, Erin.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Are you ready to podcast?
I am. I'm so excited. I moved it up a day.
Yeah. So, usually our plan was to record Crime Crazy on Tuesdays.
True.
Today is Monday.
It is.
So, Jordan, why exactly are we recording today?
One, it's a totally valid reason.
And if you have to justify it like that, I'm sure it's a totally valid reason.
I mean, I sent you a gif of that puppy, so I want my puppy to have that. Mm-hmm. So it is my first puppy, Frankie. I can't say firstborn because I didn't do that.
I mean, he was born before Julius, but
that's true. So my first puppy, Frankie, is his first birthday tomorrow, and I'm throwing him a birthday party.
So we can't record our podcast tomorrow because you'll be throwing a birthday party for your dog.
Yeah, well, I guess he will be a dog tomorrow. He'll still be a puppy to me. But I am baking him a cake, and I invited his friends.
Who are his friends?
My friends.
Wait a second.
Sarah, Lindsay, Jenna, Stephanie.
I noticed Erin wasn't on that list.
Well, Julius is your friend.
That's true.
That's
true.
And Frankie is like weird about who he likes, but surprisingly he hasn't stopped liking them.
Oh, okay.
He actually gets excited when like Lindsay comes over every week. Aww. And then he's like, oh yeah. So I'm making a cake, and I told them, well, none of them have RSVP'd yet, but even if it's just us.
That's a dog.
Well, first I was like, who gets off at what time tomorrow? And Sarah closes the bar, so she can't. And then Jenna was like, I'll let you know, because her schedule is always last minute. And Lindsay was like, I get off at 4:30. Why? And I sent a video of Frankie, and I was like, Frankie, you want to ask them?
Oh my gosh.
It was cute because he was eating dinner. He had no interest in what I was talking about.
He's not going to have a whole lot of interest tomorrow unless you feed him the cake.
Oh, yeah, no. The whole time I'm making that cake, he's going to be interested.
What, is it a person cake or a dog cake?
It's a dog cake.
Oh, okay. Is there going to be person cake? Because all those people you were talking about, those are people.
I said there would be cake for dogs and people. I mean, you could eat the dog cake. There's nothing bad in it. It's going to be like pumpkin and apple.
Oh, just not sweet and...
No, it's going to be really dense and peanut buttery.
Gotcha. I mean, of those people, only one of them has a dog, right? Only Lindsay?
Yeah, I'll say. Well, Stephanie and Jenna have cats who mysteriously just gave birth and they didn't know that she was pregnant.
Like my fish.
Well, she was a stray, and they started bringing her in through storms and stuff, and then all of a sudden it's just like, you're my cat. Yeah. And all of a sudden it was like, she's under the couch having babies. So I got to hold a day-old kitten.
Aww.
And one looks like Frankie, so I keep calling her or him Frankie Jr. Jr.
Frankie Jr. Jr.
Yeah.
Who's Frankie Jr.?
Well, it's a Friends reference.
Oh, okay.
So it was Frank Jr. Jr.
Gotcha.
Instead of Frank the Third. So now it's Frankie Jr. Jr.
Of course. Because that makes total sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess I don't need to ask you if you've done anything weird this week.
No, skip me. Did you do anything weird?
I was trying to think if I had done anything weird, and I don't know. I think I might have had a normal week. I mean, I was home with the kids, so I'm sure, I probably said weird things, like all those kid things that you think you'll never say, but then you're like, stop putting boogers on the dog or whatever. So I'm sure I did that. I visited a prison, but that has lately become not weird in my life.
I don't think that's very weird for you anymore.
No, it's sort of normal now, which is weird.
I guess so.
But yeah, no, I had a pretty normal week, I think. All right, so
do you want me to go first?
Yeah, you have a couple stories today, right?
I do. I have a lengthy-ish one that's really good that I enjoyed reading, and then a short, funny one for the end.
Okay.
Not really funny because someone was hurt, but I thought it was kind of funny. So.
Well, I think we've established that we're not quite right in the head.
That's true. And that's probably why everyone's listening, because they're probably the same.
Right. They're either the same or they just want to see how this train wreck is going to end.
Either are fine.
Speaking of which, our last episode on the Ouija boards.
Oh my god.
M. Schultz from And That's Why We Drink shouldn't want anything to do with that.
Yeah, well, I didn't either, and I was just waiting for a spirit to be like, OMG, go to bed.
Right. So what we didn't do was do anything with that, like, recording that we made of us playing with the Ouija board afterwards.
Oh.
Because nothing happened.
No, I know.
Really
we were just,
boring.
like, making up stuff, and we're like, whatever it lands on is what's meant to be.
Right. Like, flinging it across the table and wiggling it all around. Oh, Lila's going to be on our podcast this week. You just kicked my dog.
I didn't mean to. I didn't know she was there.
She says I was on that pillow.
In my defense, my dogs are really big, so I always know where they are. So little dogs, I'm realizing I'm not good around anymore.
Right. They can be everywhere. Well, and there are 3 of them,
That's
so...
true. I'm surrounded.
You are surrounded.
Sorry, Lila.
So, okay, well, yeah, okay. I have one more question, though. Is yours, like, gory? Is it funny? Is it... Because mine this week is dark.
It's not gory or dark. I mean, there were murders, but it was pretty, like, cut and dry to the most part.
Okay.
But my murderers, I'm going to say murderers, because I don't know if one just did the killing or not.
Okay.
Were extremely old. They were, like, deemed one of the oldest serial killer couples ever.
Ooh, okay.
So, like, really old.
Okay. All right, cool.
Okay, so I'll start from the beginning.
All right.
I feel like there should be a dream sequence.
Right, we need, like, bells or little flutes or something playing.
Okay, so this is about Ray and Faye. I hate that their names rhyme.
Right.
But whatever. Ray and
go
Faye.
by Raymond. Or...
Right, I know. And every story I was like, God damn it. I hate when names rhyme and you get married. Like, no. So this is Ray and Faye Copeland. And Ray was the one who kind of started his crime early. So he lived through the Great Depression. And in order to survive, he started stealing livestock. And he'd either, like, resell them or obviously eat, depending on what kind of livestock, and forging checks.
Okay.
So he, from a very young age, so I think he finally got caught, let's see. So he was released in 1940. He was caught a year before, so 1939. So he was 26 years old. Mm-hmm. So this is all before, I mean, I'm almost 25, so that's kind of crazy. To think that I couldn't imagine doing that.
I don't know how you would steal livestock. Like,
yeah. Come here.
Right. Get in the back of my SUV or my minivan.
I know. And back then they didn't even have that. So it's like, I'll just ride you off into the distance.
Right. I mean, okay, so like if it was a goat, I might be able to steal a goat.
No, but they mentioned like cattle and horses. So these were like big.
Yeah, I can't lift one of those or pull one if it doesn't want to go with me.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I could open the gate and, like,
hope for the best.
Right. Like in Minecraft, you hold out the wheat and they follow you. I assume that's how it works in real life.
That's the only thing I could think of. So he, as soon as he got out of jail, he met his wife, who was Faye, soon after he was released. And they got married, had babies, like crazy, and needed money because they were like, oh shit, we just had all these children.
Right.
And we're broke already. What were we thinking?
Again, like my fish.
Yeah. That's true. So, Ray picked up the life of crime again, started stealing livestock again, and started forging checks. But because of his bad rep, he was having a hard time staying in one spot for too long. So he had to keep moving around.
Right.
So
he doesn't get caught.
Yeah, I want to say, so they're kind of like in the Midwest, more or less, so they just kind of floated around there. So then, Ray was in and out of jail because of, obviously what he was doing. So over the years, he was in and out, leaving Faye to be semi-single mother. I don't even know how she survived. They didn't even mention it.
How many children they had?
It ended up being 5, I think.
Oh, okay.
So
not like sleeves.
But when you're freaking poor, that's a lot of mouths to feed.
When you're stealing livestock just to eat, then
right?
Having 5 more mouths is not a good plan.
So pretty much like we said that one time, like when they go into jail, they learn all these new ideas and then they come out. So that's pretty much what he did. He pretty much spent his time in jail to master his plan. So he was like, okay, new game plan. He's like, since I have a bad rep with the cattle world, he's like, I'm going to start taking in like hobos and drifters and making them my farmhands. So,
okay. That doesn't seem like a way to make money. That seems like a way to pay other people.
Right. So
that's a wrong direction.
You would have to pay them if you didn't murder them. so what he kept doing, he would send them to auction. I'm making this really dramatic. Like, I need sound effects of, like, lightning crash,
right.
and then, like, thunder.
This is becoming a real, like, we need special
storms.
Effects. Like a radio show.
So, he started sending them to auctions. He's like, hey, you know, buy the cattle with these checks. Obviously bad checks.
Right, he forged
He's like,
those.
just bring the cattle back
as fast as you can before they cash the check.
And then all of a sudden the drifters would disappear. And he would fast sell the cattle back to someone else. Yeah.
And then so he wasn't seen buying the cattle with bad checks.
It was these random people that no one's ever seen before.
Right, and then they never see him again.
Yep.
That's actually clever.
And then he would, like, he would sell the cattle back to someone else and get the money for it.
Right.
So he literally didn't lose it all except for, you know, obviously killing these people.
I was going to say, he did have to kill people, so...
So, then, after these drifters started disappearing, you know, this worked for a little while. People were trying to track down these people that no one's ever heard of. So all these men were like, you know, where the hell did this guy go, or whatever.
No one ever said, oh, Ray, what was his name? Copeland? Ray Copeland hired me.
So then, it did get to that point. Because this worked for a while, but then the police kind of caught up with him and sent him to jail. They were like, you can't do that. But they didn't realize that he had been killing them.
They just, like, did
they
the
thought
deed
that they
and
just,
left.
yeah, they thought that they got paid and left. So, they didn't, every story that we talk about has really bad cops, and it makes me want to be a detective or a cop.
Right.
So I could be like, I know what I'm doing. Like, I watch TV.
Right.
So,
I've seen Law & Order and Criminal Minds and all those shows. I know how to do this.
Yeah.
I can police.
So I, you know, talk around the town was like, oh, well, Johnny and Tim, whatever I sold the cattle to, said that they were at the Copeland farm. So that's, I think, how he really got found out. So he was jailed again.
You should have just lied to the drifters and told them his name was something else, because if they're only going to be around for a couple days,
well,
how would they know?
Then he finally figured it out again in jail.
I have to stop guessing their story.
with the plan. It was funny because I was writing this and I was like, this is kind of predictable, but then it, like, keeps going.
Right.
So then he was like, I'm going to make sure that they're not connected with me at all. Like, I'm going to send these farmhands out, do my shit, and get rid of them. So this went on until Jack McCormick was like
old detective.
No, it was an old.
Like
I know, right?
A DA or something.
And so he was an old employee, and he called of the Copeland farm. So I don't know how he survived.
I was gonna say he's an employee they let live.
No idea.
He did
never
something
mentioned
more important than getting cattle.
Yeah. So he called like a Crime Stop hotline and was like, I know what's going on in that farm. And he's just like...
He was a disgruntled
I literally
employee.
wrote, I was like, he ended up snitching on the Copelands. Even though he should have, but still.
Right.
So, you know, he said, Ray even tried to kill me once. Like, you guys need to go back there. Something's going on at that farm. So police were like, all right, whatever. And then, because he had moved around so much, that they were like, what are you talking about? So then they looked into his record, and they were like, oh shit, he's literally been in and out of jail since he was like 20-something.
Right.
We should check into this.
Right, he is actually a bad guy, not a stand-up character.
So then, in October of 1989, the Copeland farm was pretty much like flooded with dozens of police and bloodhounds searching the entire farm.
Oh.
They finally got like a warrant to do all of this, so they like came full force. And then they eventually found all the bodies in the barn. I'm like, guys, dispose of the body.
He just stuck them in the barn?
They were just in the barn, so like a lot of them were like remains and stuff by this point.
Well, yeah, but God, that's gross.
In the barn, yeah. They were, and then there were more like elsewhere throughout their property. Let's see.
Do you know how many?
They only ID'd 5 of the bodies. So those were like names listed.
Yeah.
But since a lot of them were drifters and like no one really knew who they were. So that's why they were like, you know, there were a few elsewhere. But all were killed the same exact way. And that was a .22 Marlin rifle.
Okay.
So I was like, and they were all shot in the head. And then this so happened, same exact gun was found in the house. So they were kind of like, oh, this is easy.
Right. We can't screw this up.
This means that Ray had been killing these men from age 72 to 75.
Holy smokes.
So he was like, he probably looked like this little old man, like, oh, he probably wouldn't hurt anyone.
Feel threatened at all.
And all of a sudden he was just like, oh, thanks for my horse, pow. Like, so he had like a killer shot. Oh, no pun intended. But he's literally shooting these guys in the head. It's like, they said pretty much like 4 headshots. So I was like, that's insane.
Man.
So Ray's actions were clear. He was trying to get the money, do the forging, stealing, his whole thing makes sense. But what about Faye? What did she know? What did she not know? Was she a part of it? Well, she did. She had made... This is so disgusting. I told my boyfriend Mike about it, and he was like, what? So I was like on the way over here, and I was like, yeah, and she did know about it. So
she's guilty too.
Yeah. So she had made this quilt of all the dead men's clothing and kept it in the house. So every time that he'd kill someone else, she would sew another patch on.
Okay, that's just wrong. Why would you do
Gives
that?
me the heebie-jeebies.
She was like super excited by the killing.
So she actually had like a ledger of like all the men's names, and that's pretty much how they helped identify the bodies.
What is wrong with her?
And she put X's next to them.
No.
And I'm like, I don't know if you're just like dumb or old. I don't know.
But she just really felt the need to keep records.
Yeah. So like, we hired so and so. Check. Like, he's done. Hired so and so. Check.
No longer have that guy.
Yep.
Oh, we're down to 3 farmhands.
Throughout this time, she was 65 to 68 years old.
She's considerably younger than Ray.
Yes. But, yeah. But still, I was like, dang, girl.
Right, that's like a grandma. You're supposed to be making quilts out of cute stuff, not dead people's clothes.
No, she was like, oops, whatever. So then, when they took her to court, she tried to play the whole, like, well, I was really abused and I didn't know better. But she didn't say it. Like, her attorneys were the only ones who talked for her. Because they were like, no, we'll try to get you off with this, but we don't know if it's going to work. So, no, it didn't work because the judge was like, you had a fucking quilt! Like, I'm sure he was freaking out. So then, with the ledger of, like, So, there's just too much stacked against her. So she was charged with 4 counts of murder and 1 count of manslaughter. I don't know how they separated the difference, but that's what she got. So she got, like, as far as, like, against her, 4 death sentences and 1 life without parole. Which I was like, how do you get 4 death sentences?
We're going to kill you. We're going to bring you back. We're going to kill you. We're going to bring you back. We're going to kill you. We're going to bring you back. We're going to kill you.
I'm imagining them, like, halfway drowning her and bringing her back.
They, like, waterboard her.
Yeah, I was like, okay. So then in March 1991, Ray got charged with 5 counts of murder and sentenced to death. So
5 times.
Oh, well, they only said once, but I'm sure it was like 50 times for everything he did.
Right. So
they told Ray, they're like, your wife is going to get the death penalty, like, by lethal injection. And he was just so, like, oh, well, it happens to some people.
Well, okay.
And everyone's kind of like, what?
Right. Obviously, he has just a terrible disregard for human life, period. So,
yeah.
Maybe we shouldn't be so surprised. Also, of the 2 of them, I'd be way more terrified of her than of him. Because
at least his made sense, but she was just so, like...
He's just greedy and doesn't value human worth. She made a quilt out of their clothes.
I know. And then, like, I can't imagine writing a list of, I'm sure it wasn't a list at once, but, writing a guy's name, like, oh, this is our new farmhand. And then
because
2 days later,
them to write down their name.
X. Like, I don't think I could do that.
No.
And it was just, like, on her desk. Like, nothing was hidden. Like, I seriously think they thought that they were never going to get caught.
I mean, it's a clever plan, but you can't... You either leave no witnesses, like, don't tell anyone your name. Like, they just weren't sneaky enough.
No. Because then after a while, they ended up staying in one spot because they made the farm and everything like that. So,
they set it
down. And they do have 5 kids they're carting around doing all of this.
Oh, the kids must have all been grown by then, right? Because they're old.
Yeah. Okay. I would say, so, like, they must have settled down because they were like, we can't keep, like, moving around or whatever. Right. So they were probably there for a while, but... I mean, can you imagine if, like, all of a sudden it's like, oh, Billy, come home. Mom and Dad are getting arrested. Oh, for what? Oh, murder. Like, no big deal.
Sure, just they've been murdering farmhands. They've been murdering bums and
yeah, it's fine. And that quilt that Mom gave you, like, we're gonna need that. Like, that's evidence. Oh, God.
In case she wondered why it smelled funny and had, like, blood stains on it.
Yeah, well, why it was dirty. I was telling Mike, I was like, I don't know why, like, and in general, even if they didn't kill them, they were homeless people's clothing. Hobos, drifters. Can you imagine how dirty and nasty that was?
A pretty print or like a brand new clothes. I mean, it could have been
torn shirts and jeans or whatever.
Do you think that was because she would have been young in the Great Depression?
If born?
Well, and her husband lived through it, so
yeah, because he was born in 1914.
Okay, so do you think that
she
was
probably born in the middle of it?
Because she's an absolute sicko? Or do you think she's making the quilt because you don't want to waste anything? And she had all these clothes?
I don't know.
Also, does that mean that all the people they killed were naked in the barn?
I guess so. And anywhere else they found them on the property.
Right. Which I guess it doesn't matter because they're dead, but still, that is even less kind of regard for life. Like this.
Honestly, they always say, like, when they cover them up, it's instant remorse.
Right.
And, like, I guess leave them out, they're like, oh, whatever.
For a quilt and stick them in your barn.
Trying to, like, embarrass them. I don't know. So they never, like, went into all this, and I wish I could find out, like, the court records, because I want to be in this.
Right.
But, like, yeah, so, and, like, he was told, like, your wife's gonna die by lethal injection.
Right.
And he was like, it just kind of happens. Like, he's like, it happens to some people. Or, like, yeah, some people, like, you guys who have fucking killed people.
Right. It's also gonna happen to you. Does that bother you?
Yeah.
Like,
so,
you don't have any feelings for this woman that
luckily,
bore
he
5
was
of your
in
children.
jail for too long for them to kill him. Like, he died on his own.
Oh, okay.
Because you're so old.
Maybe he suffered.
That's true. It says he died of natural causes. I don't know if that was, like, heart attack, whatever. His
he
heart
just got
gave out.
old and he was in jail.
And he was 78 years old, which, like, I don't know, it's kind of crazy to think that he just died of natural causes at 78.
Yeah, but I think he's probably like in some maximum security something. He's not eating great food. He's not getting tons of exercise. He's not, visiting doctors whenever he wants. Like, he probably just wasn't as well. Plus, he doesn't have some major thing to live for anymore if you're going to be in jail forever.
That's true, because he died, October 19th, 1993. So I was born when he died.
I was going to say, were you alive?
I was. And then, they tried to get Faye, they tried to retry Faye, saying, no, like, seriously, she was abused. Like, he made her do all of this. He made her stay. Like, he threatened her, whatever. And it still didn't work.
Right.
Because everything came back out. The new judge was like, yeah, but the quilt. Like, that was still enough.
There's still a quilt.
Yeah, so, that didn't work. So then, August 10th, 2002, she suffered a stroke and left jail on, like, medical parole.
Okay.
Which I didn't know was a thing.
Can't in any way be a threat, and we don't want to pay your medical bills anymore, so get out?
Probably. So they put her in a nursing home, and she died a year later at age 82. So she, lived obviously longer than he did.
Yeah, considerably.
I'll say 78, 82. So yeah.
Right, and she was 10 years younger than him, so
And it does say that she left, or I guess they left, 5 children, 17 great-grandchildren, and 25 great-great-grandchildren.
What about the grandchildren? We don't know. Somewhere in between 5 and 17.
Oh, no, I said... No, the 5 children, 17 grandchildren.
Oh, okay. You said great-grandchildren.
Oh, shit.
No, it's okay.
We're just going to take that out. No, we're not. Oh, whatever, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So 5, 17, 25.
Right.
Just say it in the line. So then, so no one commented.
A lot of people.
Yeah.
No one commented.
No. There's, no record of them ever saying, I knew my mom or I knew my dad was shooting people. Or,
because, I guess they hadn't killed anyone when the kids were still around, right? They would have been grown by then.
Yeah.
But they had to know that their parents were criminals, at least their dad.
Yeah, because he was in jail their entire life.
Right.
But I guess it was for nothing violent, technically. Right. So maybe they're he was just trying to do what was best for us.
That is quite the escalation.
Yeah.
Between,
stealing
cattle and killing 5 people.
He's I'll just shoot them. Then they'll never get back to me. I was like, oh my God, how do you decide that? So, and I was also excited to find out that season 6, episode 3, Reed actually mentions this couple.
Oh, yeah.
He was just like, no, even the Copelands killed into their 70s. And I was like, oh my God, he did say that.
And that's real.
Yeah, and I was like, I talked about something I'm talking about. We're practically married.
Right. Practically married.
So I was
just don't listen to that part.
I was just, yeah, sorry, baby. I was just shocked that even at 72 to 75 years old, he was still strong enough, fit enough, could see well enough to shoot these people in the head. I'm sure he had to move their bodies. These are grown men.
Yeah, and he had to get the upper hand on them. Like,
yeah.
He had to surprise them, or he had to do... I mean, sure, he probably was not very threatening. I would imagine that they felt safe.
But with a rifle, that's big. So it's not like a handgun where you're just like, bah!
Right, no, you would see him coming.
Mm-hmm.
What's the gun for?
Him.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Hey, just bend over a little bit.
I know, it's like taking the dog out back. Like,
right.
It's like, we just gotta take a walk. I just was so shocked that
Can you go in the bar and see all those bodies? Just sit right there. I can't move you once you're dead.
Oh, God.
Oh, that's...
I know. I was just shocked, though. I was like, dang. They're old. And they had, like, a cute little, like, Olin Mills picture. She's, like, on his shoulder, and they're really old. And I was like, this is probably before you guys got caught.
Well, yeah, I would imagine so.
But wouldn't it be funny
like, orange
after?
jumpsuits.
Yeah. Or, like, the famous painting with the guy, the pitchfork, and then the wife.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I imagine them, and then that's kind of what they looked like.
Oh, my gosh. When you said Criminal Minds, I thought you were going to talk about the episode with the pig farmer. That was like, what was he trying to get their brain stem fluid or their spinal
his brother
fluid first? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then they only found out how many there were because they found all those shoes. Mm-hmm. Oh, that was horrible.
Pigs do eat everything, and pigs are so cute, but they also freak me out because of that reason.
Well, yeah, they're not... Like, they're cute in cartoons, and they're cute when they're little, and then they grow up into these animals that are kind of intimidating.
Yeah, and they're really smart.
Teeth, and yes. Yeah. And they're big.
Yeah.
And they're strong.
They can...
But they taste yummy when you fry them.
Yeah. Well, there's this book about, like, I don't know what it's called. Ah, damn it. I just saw it today, too. But it's pretty much about, like, how we decide what food... Like, what animals are okay to eat and what animals aren't.
Yeah.
And they're like... You know, we say, like, dogs and cats, oh, they're so smart. It's like, but pigs can do a lot more than dogs can.
Right.
Like, they can actually, like, maneuver locks and recognize themselves in mirrors. And
right.
I'm thinking about my dogs in the mirror every time they're like, whoa, what's that? They're like, wait, oh my God, it's moving with me. So I'm like, oh, those poor pigs, but...
Well, and they're cuddly. I mean, they're affectionate, so it's not like they're just not as cute. They're not as furry.
They have, like, that coarse, weird hair.
Yeah.
And potbelly pigs are really, really big, and they really scare me. Yeah. Because I feel like, I'm like, you could just swallow me whole. Which I'm sure is not accurate, but it freaks me out.
Well, it's sort of funny that we're talking about eating animals, and this really leads into mine. And
oh my God, I'm so ready.
Oh, it's so gross.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I agree about the animals. Like, I don't... The other night, Tobin told me that, he didn't want to eat a cow... That he was okay to eat chicken nuggets. And I said, you realize that chicken is made out of chickens? And he's like, what? No. Like, that's not a thing. That's a different kind of chicken, Mom. That chicken is that chicken. This chicken is this chicken.
But cows are cows.
But cows, we don't want to eat. I mean, if he doesn't know that beef and hamburgers are cows, so he'll still eat those things. He just doesn't want to eat a cow.
Okay.
Like, I guess if I brought him a whole
cow. Like,
which again goes back to the stealing.
Here you go. I stole this for you.
Right.
Oh my God.
I grabbed some wheat and I let it over here.
So here's your cow.
Right. Actually, that may have been where it came from. We might have been playing Minecraft and killed a cow and then ate it.
And he's probably like, I don't want to do that.
Right.
Aww.
Yeah. Which I do always feel really guilty about killing animals on Minecraft. Like, I always say, I'm sorry. And they're like boxy little... I don't know how I eat meat.
Definitely not real.
I just don't think about it.
Yeah, I probably don't either. That's probably how I get through it.
Right. I think it would gross me out if I really thought about it. Like...
Yeah. Well, that's happened to Sarah. Now she's pescatarian.
Yeah.
But even with the seafood, that freaks me out more because they're pretty much just like in a bucket for their entire lives, and then they get shipped out to be ate. Like, I feel like that's...
I don't really like seafood, but I always say,
know.
it swims in its own pee. Like, that's not okay. But you're talking about smart animals and pigs. Octopus. Octopus is so smart.
That's true.
And they've got brains in their appendages. Well, sort of. They've got,
Yeah.
And they have, their brains, I think, are maybe double-lobed like ours. There's some similarity that they have with us that's how on earth could they have evolved into that? Like, we have nothing in common with them, but they're super, super smart.
That's
and
crazy.
People eat those all the time.
Ew, I would never. Mm-mm. Never in my life. Well,
have I ever eaten octopus?
Please say no.
I don't think... Well, I don't know. Maybe. I've eaten squid, I think. When it's, fried and it's just a ring and you can't tell what it is. Right.
Sometimes that's not even squid, though. Sometimes that's just, fake.
The one that we had at the Yorktown pub also had the whole baby octopuses fried in there, which I didn't realize was a thing, and that's disturbing.
I know that's in, I don't know if it's, Chinese food buffets or Japanese, whatever it is, but there were just in there, whole
octopods.
Baby, yeah. I don't know. And then they do that, the soy sauce, they pour it on it so it it
that's right, I've seen that.
And
With the frog legs. Yeah. With the salt and the, gross. No. Okay. All right, you ready to be really, really grossed out?
Yeah.
Okay. Mine's about a cannibal.
Ew, I'm already disgusted. Go ahead.
This was so fascinating to me because, first of all, it's super gross and gory, and we're going to have to, go through the details, and it's going to be really awful. Are you going to throw up?
Maybe. Go ahead.
Okay, if you start getting queasy, let's take a break. I have ginger ale in the fridge.
I'm excited.
Okay, so there's that, but then also, I think it's kind of an interesting, what is the right thing to do as far as punishing this guy? Because it's not a black and white, clear-cut case, even though he's a cannibal, which most people are like, kill him, kill him, kill him.
Yeah.
But it's not really like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so, all right. He's pretty famous, and he's in Germany, so I'm going to totally butcher his name, but I think it's Armin Meiwes.
Okay.
And he was born in 1961, in Germany, and he was a computer repair technician. I work with a lot of computer repair technicians. I feel like we really can't trust those guys. Not really. No. Actually, most of them are great, but this sort of fits all the stereotypes because his victim, that we'll talk about in a minute, was an engineer. And I just sort of picture these two, very stereotypical, nerdy, antisocial guys who, only could have ever met on the internet and didn't have other friends and support systems, which is probably how they got to where they ended up. But it's just funny that they fit those stereotypes so perfectly. Anyway, so computer repair technician, he at a very young age started having these fantasies about eating people.
Ew.
And so I had to, of course, do some research on that.
And fantasies on eating people?
Yes, because
I fantasize for, my bank account to be 6 figures.
Right.
To each their own, I guess.
Right. So it's called Vereraphilia.
Ooh.
Vereraphilia.
So this is a thing.
Uh-huh. And generally it's the desire to be swallowed whole, but it can also be the desire to swallow somebody whole. It's like a sexual cannibalism. It's all your brain is all miswired. And,
flesh of mankind.
Yes, the flesh of mankind, Rocky. Oh gosh. So apparently there are a lot of these people.
Okay.
And back in the late 90s, early 2000s, there was a website called the Cannibal Cafe. Which you're just asking for it, right? Yeah. If you post
is it that
on
penguin chat game that you're a penguin club or whatever, and you go around and you meet people. It's kind of like Sims, but you're all penguins.
Oh no,
it's real people. It's hi, how you doing?
Right. Well, sort of, because it turns out vereraphilia, this desire to be swallowed whole, usually it has to be symbolic, because generally people don't actually carry out acts of cannibalism, and they don't even if that idea really arouses them, that they don't want to ever actually do it. They don't want to kill somebody. They know you can't swallow somebody whole, but the imagery of distended bellies and stories about people swallowing other people whole and then either giving birth to them or digesting them, for some reason that can get cross-wired in your brain, foot fetishes and all the other things that, And that's a thing. So what they normally would do is like tell stories. They like make up recipes. Like they would talk about it like it was a real thing, but they would not ever want to do it for real. They would also maybe use animals in their depictions of like art and things. So it might be a dragon that's swallowing you whole, or a snake, or like something like that. They talked about a little bit. Some people who have this inclination, it might just stem from loneliness and the idea that if you eat somebody, especially if you eat them all in one piece and they don't necessarily die because you're in this fantasy world, then you're always together and they can't leave you, and you have this connection that's deeper than anybody else, And for Meiwes, I think that was definitely part of it, because he says later that he felt like, his victim was always with him. And so anyway, he got on Cannibal Cafe and he did not post a story or a picture or something that he had drawn. He posted a want ad and said that he wanted so this is what it said. It was February 2001. He posts, he's looking for a well-built 18 to 30-year-old to be slaughtered and then consumed. So he just lays it all out there. So apparently people would do that, but then they didn't really mean it. They just wanted to like fantasize with somebody back and forth. Like, let's pretend like we were going to do this in role play. Yeah. But he was serious. So the year after this happened, the site was shut down. Germany was like, nope, you can't have that anymore. And they took it away. And the guy who ran it now runs a different site that is also about cannibalism, but it's like much, like you wouldn't find people on there posting and trying to get victims and that kind of thing. It's stories, and it's more heavily moderated, I guess. But this one had been open for 9 years before that.
Dang.
So anyway, he posts this, and he posted that, in February. I think I said March. But he posts it in February. By March, he has made a new friend. And his new friend is, I'm going to totally mess up his name, Bernard Jürgen Armando Brands, who is an engineer from Berlin. And they talk for about a month back and forth, and they go into detail about like what they want to do and how it's going to work, and they're very open and very like honest about, I'm going to kill you and then I'm going to eat you, and then and Brands is just into it. He's like, yep, that's what I want to happen.
Ew.
So March 9th, they finally meet. Meiwes is 39 years old, and Brands is, I think he's 44. And he comes over. They had been emailing for a month. At one point in their emails, Brands even said that he hoped that Meiwes was serious because he had met enough, quote, cyber cannibals. So, like, people who just wanted to talk about it. And he was hoping that this guy was, like, for real. It is insane. Like,
I really hope you are going to slaughter and eat me, because this has happened one too many times, buddy. I'm still here.
I don't know. Like, you have to be somewhat depressed or suicidal or something. Because you have to know that even if the idea is really exciting to you, you're not going to be alive to experience it. So it's not like you're going to get some gratification out of it.
Unless they're, like, really sick in the head and they're like, no, I'll be with him forever. I'll be alive in his belly.
I guess.
Just saying that made me cringe.
Right. Right. Well, so it gets worse.
Oh, God.
So they meet on March 9th, 2001. And just to make sure that everybody, in case this ever comes out, is totally aware that it's all like legit and consensual, they videotape the entire transaction. Oh my God. There is this tape still exists, but when this all eventually goes to court and the people who like tried him saw the videotape and like watched, so there are people who have seen it, but they never released it. Like somehow they've kept it secret. So they meet, and like right away they give Brands alcohol, cold medicine, pain pills, and they just like at one point it was like they gave him 20 sleeping pills. Like he just tons of stuff. He has half a bottle of schnapps.
God.
So like just tons of stuff in his system because he was going to need the pain medicine, because his desire is that he wants Meiwes to bite his penis off.
No.
So once he's good and high and drunk and not feeling a whole lot of anything, he tells Meiwes he wants him to do this, and Meiwes tries. Mm-hmm. But it's too tough and he can't.
Ew!
Yeah. So he gets a knife and he tries to cut it off, but it's too tough and the knife is too dull and he can't. So he gets a bigger knife.
This is the worst cannibal ever.
Ever, right? He succeeds in cutting his junk off. Okay. So then he gives it to Brands because Brands doesn't only want Meiwes to eat it, but he wants to eat it as well. His own.
Okay.
And you've got the hiccups or you're gagging. I can't tell.
Kind of both.
He can't chew it. It's too tough. So they fry it in butter, salt, pepper, wine, and garlic. But it's still not edible. They said it like shriveled up to almost nothing. And
his junk, or lack of, is just bleeding.
Yes. Well, and that's sort of the point. Because that's how he was supposed to die. Was to just bleed out through his crotch. I don't know. So I probably should have put some sort of disclaimer at the beginning of this about but I did say it was really gross. So then later he tried to fry it again. Well, Meiwes was one. He tried to fry it again in some of Brand's own fat. I guess because maybe I don't really know why he thought that would work, but he burned it and it was totally inedible. So he cut it up and fed it to his dog.
Oh, poor dog.
Yeah, so the dog ate some of them. So anyway, now he's cut this guy's penis off and he takes him to the bath. And they make a bath and they put Brands in it and the plan is just to let him bleed out.
And they're videotaping all this.
And they're videotaping all of it. And so they give him 20 sleeping pills. This is where he takes the sleeping pills. He's already had the cold medicine and the alcohol and the pain pills and all that. And he's just supposed to go to sleep in this bathtub filled with his own blood. And die. He falls asleep. And so Meiwes is bored, I guess. I guess it's boring waiting for your first ever murder victim that you just tried to eat his junk to die. So he goes in the next room and reads a novel, a Star Trek novel. Oh because we have to be totally stereotypical. And he does that for a couple of hours. And after several hours, Brands is still alive. So Brands starts to, he's not real with it. He's lost a lot of blood. He's had a lot of drugs. I don't know how he survived, the 20 sleeping pills. But he tries to get out of the tub. So Meiwes helps him into bed and puts him in bed, leaves him there for a while. And around 3:30, so he read until about 8. And then about 3:30 in the morning, Brands tries to get up again, and he can't. And Meiwes comes over, and he whispers his last words in Meiwes' ear, which are, "I have to piss." Which is kind of unfortunate, because he didn't really have a way to do that anymore. But then he dies, so it doesn't matter.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So there were some, conflicting evidence here. Because some people said he died, some of the sites that I looked at, and some of them said that he didn't. And I think he actually didn't die right then. I think that he just became unconscious and was never conscious again.
Oh, okay.
Because when they ended up trying Meiwes, part of the evidence was that he had slit his throat. So he apparently took him into the slaughter room, hung him on a meat hook upside down, slit his throat, and that's what actually killed him. So I think he was probably never gonna survive, but in the end he died from the slit throat. He bled him out. After he bled out, like an animal that you hunt, I guess, he cut him up, and the whole time he's talking to him, "Shall I cut you in half, my darling? Shall I cut this piece off?" Because it's kind of a sexual thing in his head. Yeah. So the very first thing he had was a rump roast that he made with
Ew.
mushrooms and onions. Yeah. So I think on his back. And then he, for the next 9 months, he kept him in the freezer, and he fried and ate pieces of him. He said he tasted like pork, but stronger than pork. And then he ate 44 pounds of human being over the next 9 months.
Ew.
Which just seems like a lot of meat, period.
Yeah. It's if I think of 44 pounds of steak.
Right.
I can't even eat half a pound of steak. I'm the one that's what's the smallest steak you have?
Right.
Can I have that one? They're are you sure it's really small? I'm I'm sure it's really small.
I want the kids' plate.
It's please give me the steak bits. I'm not kidding.
Right.
So 44 pounds
of a human being over 9 months.
When I think about losing weight, losing 44 pounds Like, I could lose 44 pounds in my dreams. I wish I could. But if I did, I would still be, like, a functional person.
Yeah.
So he must have ate.
Well, but he would have been eating muscle.
Ew, I guess you're right. Not even fat. Well, I don't know. He probably used the fat
to like fry
it and stuff.
Right. Because he discovered, I mean, at the very beginning that you have to eat the muscle. Because if, penis doesn't have any muscle in it. So that was no good to eat.
Yeah. Ew.
He kept the skull.
Well, if you think about all your muscles, like...
Yeah.
It adds up.
Well, it would just be like eating a pig or a cow, except it's a human being.
Ew.
Like, I'm sure that once he cut him up and wrapped him up, it probably didn't... Other than the fact that he kept a skull in his freezer, I guess to remind himself that it was a person and not pork. I don't know what the point of keeping the skull. That was super creepy.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't know that a visitor would have noticed.
I would have noticed.
You would have noticed.
I'm the pickiest eater in the world.
You're like, this doesn't taste right.
And I have, like, a weird time eating pork anyways, so if he was, like, because he said that was, like, the closest thing to it.
Yeah.
If he would have said this is pork, and I took a bite, I'd be like, no, it's not.
It's not. I don't know what it is. Get it away.
I have, like, a food sensor on my tongue, like, I know.
So he ate 44 pounds of brands.
I don't know why when you said that, I thought of Raisin Bran.
No.
I know.
No.
I wish.
And then he ends up getting caught about 9 months later because he was running low on meat, and so he was advertising for someone else. And this college student saw the posts and saw, like, all of the details, because he just freely posted on this website, like, oh, I killed him, I cut him up, I did this, I did that, like, here's how I cooked him, this was the recipe. Apparently he ate him with green chili a lot.
Ew.
And the college student was like, oh, wait, I think he's serious. Like, somebody needs to look into this. It sounds like he may have actually killed a person. Like, I noticed this username doesn't post anymore. There's something going on.
All of a sudden.
So they try him, and they have the video and all the evidence. Like, he doesn't even try to say he didn't do it. He totally admits it, that he, has always had this desire that if given the chance, he would probably do it again because he still has the desire. And they convict him of manslaughter because Brands was absolutely consenting and willing, and they talked for a month, and they spelled it all out, and they videotaped it. Mm-hmm. And so they're like, well, in Germany, the max that you can get for, like, an assisted suicide, which is essentially what that was, is 5 years. And they actually sentenced Meiwes to 8 years. And even though the max is 5 years, so it was probably, like, bad, and, like, some charges added on about not properly disposing of a corpse and
probably
whatever else is going on. And so then, so this is where it was really interesting to me, because apparently you definitely can't do this here. Like, if you were tried and convicted of manslaughter and sentenced to 8 years, in 8 years you get out. Like, that's it. In Germany, if the prosecutor's not happy with the conviction, they can appeal as well, not just the defense. So they appealed and said, that's not okay. We want him to go to jail for longer. And they retried him in 2006. So he'd been in jail for a couple of years. And this time they convicted him of murder, gave him life in prison.
Dang.
You can't have any possibility of parole until you served, it's like 13 or 15 years or something like that. Anyway, his first possibility of parole, 2017.
Ew.
Yeah, but they did say that there was no way. Everybody was like, no, we're never going to let him out. Like, everybody's already like testified and whatever else, he has to stay there. So they convicted him, put him in jail for life. And he has since written his memoirs. Basically, he feels bad about what he did, and he realizes that he should never have done it in real life. It should have always remained a fantasy, that he, And so he wants to discourage other people who feel the same way that he did from ever doing the same thing.
So now he's like an advocate for it?
Like, against
I guess it.
Yeah. And he's consulted on 2 other cannibal cases.
Oh my god.
So he helped police, like, catch 2 other cannibals. Like, he's really tried, I think, to do the right thing. And if you think about it, he's a horrible, terrible guy who ate another human being. But he didn't go out and murder someone. And this is sort of what he says about himself, too.
Yeah.
He didn't sneak up on somebody and kill them. He didn't trick anybody to come in, in his house. And he told the guy exactly what was going to happen. They planned it together. It all went down exactly how they both wanted it to. So it's wrong and terrible and sick, and he needs to be locked up forever. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if it's evil. I don't know how to explain what I'm thinking. But, you know. So the other thing that I thought was just absolutely hilarious is that in prison this entire time, he's a vegetarian.
Oh. Stop.
I guess maybe meat is just too much.
He's just like, nothing will ever compare.
Right. It just reminds me of that time when I fried the guy's penis in red wine and fed it to my dog.
I don't think my dogs would eat it. They're so freaking picky.
I wouldn't eat it. I don't know anybody who would eat it.
I would never. And I would never feed it to my dog. I would never do that. But Sarah and I yesterday, it's weird this is your story, we're talking about how, like, they always say that it just takes, like, in order to bite a finger off, it's like biting a carrot, like a baby carrot. It's like the same amount of pressure.
Really?
But it's like a psychological thing. So we were talking about, like, if we'd be able to do it, and I was like, I think if I were being kidnapped and they were, like, covering my mouth and I knew I could bite a finger, I think I'd be able to do it, because that would be my chance for survival. Right. But I couldn't just bite someone's finger off. No. I can't even bite a carrot. Like, I don't like them. So, like, how am I gonna do it? So I just think that's so strange that biting, like, the penis off, that was disgusting. But
it was just too tough.
Also, like, I know...
Too chewy.
Ew.
I know. I don't get it.
Are you almost done? Right. I can't feel a damn thing. You almost done? Oh, that's so disgusting.
No, because Meiwes said, he screamed for like 5 or 6 seconds when he actually cut it off. Oh. And then he stopped. Like, it was just that little, and then he said it was like the blood was spurting out like a fountain. It was very...
Ew, I'm glad you did not say all that.
Right. Well,
I'm so bad with blood.
Oh, it was something else.
That's insane, and I don't like it.
No, not at all. So that was my super dark and disgusting story.
Well, it's not really funny because someone did really get hurt, but no one died. So, just a little end note for us.
Okay. Lighten things up a little bit after the cannibal story.
Yeah. Even though it says stabber to be deported. So, It's not that light.
Okay.
But this was in April of 2016. So a year ago. Almost down to the day. So there was like, I don't know, it was like an art festival thing, but it was at the Miami Beach Convention Center. So it was like art, I don't know, I guess it was like how you go to like vendors and they'll have booths set up. It was kind of like artists had their stuff set up.
Okay.
So.
Just indoors.
Yeah, it was just at the convention center. But it was in December, so obviously still hot down there. It's Miami.
Sure.
But this woman... I'm going to really try hard to say her name right.
I like that you found another story that takes place in Florida.
All of them take place in Florida. And Miami is one of my favorite places to go now. So, this woman's name is Soyun Zhao. Not saying that right, but you know.
Okay,
whatever.
I believe you.
So, a Chinese woman. She actually used an X-Acto knife to stab a woman in the middle of this convention center.
Like during the art expo.
Yep. And it was so bad because at the time, she was only 24. She was a student. So, she was walking the fair. She was working the fair. The other lady was walking. And, was just kind of looking around and stuff. I mean, obviously it's art.
Yeah.
So, they didn't know each other. But the student kept bumping into her. And when the victim confronted her, she took out an X-Acto knife and stabbed the woman in the arm and in the neck.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, X-Acto knives are so sharp. I'm so scared to use them, so I can only imagine the arm and the neck.
I've cut I have a scar. Like, I've got a scar on my thumb.
Oh my God, you do.
An X-Acto knife because I was
trying to make your neck
a prop. I know.
So, bystanders had no idea because they thought it was like a live art, like performance art.
Oh no.
So they were like, wow, that looks so real. Like, wow. They literally thought that the blood dripping down was just fake. Like, they literally thought it was like a piece.
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine how terrifying that would be?
So, this, the student was like, I had to kill her and 2 more. What? I had to watch her bleed. Like, she was getting crazy. So then, like, she was actually diagnosed with mental illnesses and suffered from a psychosis, which included hearing voices. She since has been placed on medication, but she had believed that the victim was an ISIS agent trying to destroy the art.
Okay.
So she was deported, actually, back to China.
Right. Where I'm sure she'll get the best possible
I know. And she was actually required to pay, let me see, it was like $10,000. Oh, $9,900. And had to write a 50-page apology book.
That sounds like what you would do to, like, a little kid.
Yep.
Oh, you're going to have to write an apology letter because you stuck your tongue out at that woman.
Yeah. So they deported her, and that's what she had to do. She entered a plea bargain saying, like, just deport me.
Right.
Type thing. But, with all of her mental illnesses and stuff.
I was going to say, I guess if she's mentally ill and then maybe she's not responsible, then that's an okay punishment. Was the other woman okay? Stabbed in the neck?
I think it said that she had survived, but honestly, I don't know.
I feel like she would have to have survived. Wouldn't that be a bigger deal?
Yeah, I tried looking it up, but everything else was just kind of that vague. So I don't know. I was like, I don't know why they wouldn't put details in there, but if I find out, I'll let you know.
Oh my goodness.
Right? I just thought it was weird that all these people were probably like, wow, what a beautiful piece. And they're like stabbing in the neck and the arm. And they're like, wow, look how real that looks.
Right. Look, there's actually
this
blood.
is the oppression of the world. Like, the art snobs that make up a big reason for something like it's a can on a table.
Right. Makes you wonder what the rest of the booth had in it.
Right?
Like, had she been drawing lots of, like, macabre kind of...
And not to make this, like, a light thing, but why would ISIS care anything about your art booth?
Right. It's
like, your particular
But if she was suffering
gone.
from,
They said she had a psychosis and was hearing voices, so.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter.
Something was
rational.
telling her. Yep.
Yeah. I wonder, nobody ever noticed, nobody knew that she was at risk, they didn't...
Probably not. Honestly, she probably didn't speak English that well.
Right.
And she was a college student. She was like, deport me.
She must have spoken English well enough to...
Well enough to, like... But I'm sure, like, it was kind of like... No one gave her the time.
Well, sure. And you could write off anything that was a little strange as, like, oh, that's a cultural difference. Or, oh, that's because she's far from home. Or that's,
Yep.
Oh, that's just not cool.
Yep.
It is a little lighter than the cannibal, especially if the woman survived. If not, then it's...
I swear I read that she did survive.
Okay.
Like, I just kind of I'm like, no, yeah, she survived.
You know what it reminds me of? Although this is very, very different, but just the blood in the convention center, and do you know where I'm going with this? We went to that tattoo festival, and they were doing the suspension act.
With the hooks and the
skin. With the hooks through their butts, and then they were swinging them around, and I didn't watch.
And stapling each other.
Stapling each other with staple guns, and then they were slamming each other into boards with, like, fluorescent light bulbs. Tacked to them, which I don't understand. That's what you decided, fluorescent light bulbs? It's really dangerous. That's not okay.
I don't know.
Like, how about a mirror? A mirror would have been...
Bad luck.
It would have been... well, yes, but not as bad luck as poisoning yourself with whatever's in the fluorescent light bulb.
That's true.
And then...
So disgusting.
And then it was... Well, because I didn't watch any of it.
No, we accidentally looked at it.
Right, but I videotaped some of it on my phone.
Oh, right,
to, like, scare other people with.
Yeah.
And I watched a little bit of it through the screen on my phone, but I didn't watch it. But then when we went back up there, because that's where we wanted to visit one of the booths there or something, and they were cleaning the blood off the floor, not even just the stage, but...
It was splattered.
That... is so not...
This is a very gory episode.
Okay, this is an extremely
We have to stop because
episode.
I hate blood, like, so much to where, like, last time I accidentally sliced my finger, which now I'm, like, missing a part of my fingerprint, that I had to call Mike to come home because I literally couldn't look at it because I almost passed out.
Yeah.
I was like, you gotta come home. And he's like, what? I was like, passing out blood. I was like, couldn't even speak.
Oh, no.
It was so bad. I was sitting on the floor. The dogs were next to me. He comes in. I'm, like, trying to cook again. And I was like, okay, I regained my strength. But I'm still not looking at it.
Right. It's just bleeding over there. I'm just pretending it's not part of me.
And I'm still trying to, like, chop garlic and chop onion. I'm, like, trying to get everything ready. And he was like, okay, just take a second.
onion and garlic and red wine and...
Ew, no.
Human fat.
No penises were cooked that night.
That's good. I hope that we can say that for the rest of our lives. I think I made a stir fry,
actually. Maybe that's what they should have did.
Yeah, I'm sure that would have made it so much better.
Ew. Okay, so we need to stop.
I agree. Well, so next time, the other things that I was researching, and I think I'm going to do something maybe on like forgery or something where the victim lives.
Yes. I'll join you on that if I can find a really good one.
Right. Something a little more positive. We'll just lighten it up after all the like dark magic last time.
Oh yeah, dark-sided.
Yeah. So, if you have suggestions for a story, we would love to hear them. You could email them to us at crimecrazypodcast@gmail.com.
Or if you're a Twitter folk, you can tweet us at crimecrazypod.
And if you're not Twitter folk, you should become Twitter folk just to tweet us. Because I check Twitter probably 50 million times a day, and I really like seeing. I know. And
I'm the one who's always on Instagram. So I like checking that one. I'm always like, what is everyone posting? And I love when people like our stuff. I'm like, oh, cool. So I could post the picture of Ray and Faye, the Owen Mills one. Absolutely. Okay, guys, I'll post that. And I
promise not to post any penis pictures.
Oh, God, no, I will not let her. I will delete it if I see it. I promise, y'all. But that is Crime Crazy Pod as well.
Yes, it is. And then we have a Facebook group and a Facebook page. So if you just search for Crime Crazy on Facebook, we'll come up. And that's a great place, too, if you have, like, a really short story that you want to tell or, if you want to give Jordan a hard time about the dog's birthday party that's happening tomorrow.
I'll post pictures on it, guys. You'll see how cute he is. He's the biggest puppy in the entire world. I'm excited.
He is really cute.
He's been put a party hat on him? Yes. He wore a party. He wore a party hat for my birthday.
Oh my god!
And it was really cute because he kept it on for about a minute, and we all got a picture, and then he took it back off.
Right, and he was like, "I don't want this on my head."
I know, but I'm definitely gonna put one on him, and I don't know.
Both of them to wear.
I don't know if Julius will let me. I'm gonna try though.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna go to Walmart after this and get a bunch of party supplies.
So, Julius is the cute puppy.
Oh, he's just the baby. He's been on my shit list lately. So
oh, no.
He's in that terrible 2 stage of his puppyhood. And now
so
Frankie's just like...
better.
Yeah, I think he is. But now, Frankie's super cuddly and lovey. And since I've been in so much pain lately, he's, really trying to, be next to me all the time. So even if I'm on the couch, he's trying to, smother me. But I know it's just with love.
Dog. Yes. Right.
So I try to let him, but
Julius, not so much.
Julius is at night, but he bit me this morning, so we had a rough morning. Because they fight over who gets to sleep the closest to me at night.
Oh.
And Frankie had already reserved all of the other half of the bed. So I was like, all right, come on this side, trying to, have me in the sandwich.
I remember when you got Frankie, and one of the first things you said was that he was not going to sleep in your bed.
Well, yeah, but that was because I had to say that to be every other dog mom. And then be like... I don't know. It just happened.
I mean,
but
mine
he does
in the
not
bed,
sleep in the bed.
15 pounds.
Well, yeah, that's true. Probably in total.
Right.
But that he does not sleep in the bed when Mike is in the bed.
Okay.
They sleep on the floor. He just fills in.
He's just like the heater in the bed when there's not. Okay.
He feels like he needs to be closer to me to protect me.
Oh.
So he never puts his
so good.
his head he always faces the door, and believe me, all he hears everything. So even down the street, someone locking their car, he wakes me up to let me know.
Oh, that's gotta be great.
Yep. So he's a good guard dog.
Well, Julius is still my favorite. Only because he reminds me of my Great Dane when I was growing up. He's a blue merle. He's so pretty.
Yep. I'll take pictures of that party too, and I'll post them.
I'm so excited. If you can get a picture of Frankie smiling like that other birthday dog that you sent me the gif of
Oh my god, that was so cute.
It was so cute. It's I have no idea what's going on, but I'm so happy.
Yes. I hope he's like that when I bring out his cake, and I'm like, hey, happy birthday.
Right. I saw a video of a horse blowing out a candle. You should get him to blow out the candle.
No, he'll probably eat it. He's not the smartest tool in the shed.
I lit that candle over there today. It's a hyacinth candle. I found a hyacinth candle at TJ Maxx. And I lit it, and I was holding Sophia, and she said, like birthday.
Aww.
It is like a birthday. Now you have to go to bed.
Yeah.
No cake.
It's
Let's go.
No. She was trying.
Oh, she was. She was so tired today, though.
Well, Aaron, you included no one end up on our next episode, especially if it comes down to eating humankind.
Oh my gosh, if you've ever eaten human, we don't want to hear that story. In fact, I think we're done with cannibalism now.
Yes, unless I find a really good one.
Okay.
Well then, I guess until next time.